Hello, everybody. Okay, in today's Learn English with Tara, the main concept that we are talking about is how to learn language better. Okay, I'm speaking in English. So why would a how to learn English lesson be in English? Well, of course, I'm assuming that you are already an intermediate or advanced English student. By the way, I love Duolingo. So if you feel that this is particularly challenging, check out Duolingo and just keep working on your skills. This is a tutorial, though. This can be used to learn English from any language. Some of mine are a little bit more specific to Spanish or Portuguese, porque eu falo portugués y también hablo español. But today is just in English. And so here's today's major tip, and that is you will learn language better when you are studying topics that interest you in the language that you are working on. And so today I will be reading and presenting some information about the topic of health. And for most people, health interests us because we all have bodies, right? And we all want to stay well. And if health does not interest you, hang on, stay tuned. Make sure to like and subscribe and turn on your notification bell for future videos, because I will be reading and talking about all kinds of topics. For instance, when I am working on my language skills, I like to listen to podcasts about business, and that's a topic that interests me as well. So we'll be talking about many different things. You will also notice that I am not slowing down my speech much. This is the typical pace at which I speak. And I think that's important when you're intermediate and advanced levels to be accustomed to get accustomed to listening to the language at the pace that the native speaker speaks, especially because today we can simply rewind a video, or it might be this way, rewind a video and listen to and watch the content again. And I encourage you to do that. Another tip for today is to grab your phone or your device. On an iPhone in particular, there's a function called voice memo, and it's an app on the phone. And you, depending on what language you have your phone set to, it's called voice memo. And so I have my recordings here. On different devices, it may be called something else, but what you're looking to do is, what you want to do is to record your voice and compare your speech to a native speaker like today. And that's what we are going to do today. So I will be talking today about health. So someone very close to me recently, in the last year, had a very serious health issue. Excuse me for a moment. I've been talking a lot today. Previously in some meetings as well. So someone very close to me had a very serious health issue this year. And he had an incident of diverticulitis. So this is a health condition that it can be, excuse me, not so serious. Many people live with it their whole lives, and in some instances can be very serious. I'm going to share my screen here. So you have your voice memo or your voice recorder, right? This is how we're going to use it to help improve your English skills, your pronunciation in particular. In order to pronounce better, you have to be able to listen. And it can be difficult to hear yourself literally and figuratively while you are speaking another language. So this is where it can be valuable to record yourself. I also sent out a nice tip on Instagram today on how to improve your pronunciation skills. And so check that out as well. I do additional tips and content on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter as well. So get your voice memo ready to record. And so if you don't know what diverticulitis is, or diverticulosis, diverticula are small, bulging pouches that can form in the lining of your digestive system. They are found most often in the lower part of the large intestine, also called the colon, commonly called the colon. Diverticula are common, especially after age 40, and seldom cause problems. Okay, get your voice recorder out, your voice memo. Pause this video and record yourself reading these sentences, and then listen to me read it again and compare. Now, as we say, do not be hard on yourself, or don't be too hard on yourself. You'll want to critique, you'll want to give yourself a fair assessment of how well or how poorly you're doing. In the comments of this video, let me know if there are certain words that are difficult for you to pronounce, and I can give you some tips, okay? Let me know your native speaking language as well. The presence of diverticula is known as diverticulosis. When one or more of the pouches become inflamed, and in some cases infected, that condition is known as diverticulitis. So when there's an infection and inflammation. By the way, pouches are like a sack is you might put some food in a pouch to carry it somewhere. It's like a little bag that the body made. Diverticulitis can cause severe abdominal pain, fever, nausea, and a marked change in your bowel habits. Some might say marked or marked. Mild diverticulitis can be treated with rest, changes in your diet, and antibiotics. Severe or recurring diverticulitis may require surgery. There's a large span of severity conditions that people experience. Okay, pause the recording again, go back and record yourself reading these sections. I did break this one up, but that means that you can also, and I suggest only taking 1 or 2 sentences at a time. It will be easier for you to process and practice in those small chunks. Okay, so now you know what diverticulitis is. My loved one who had a bout of this, bout means a fight. It also can just mean a scenario, a situation. Had the condition where the pouch actually became enlarged and broke, and so had infection throughout his abdomen, which is peritonitis, which is very, very severe. And it was an emergency situation that he didn't feel was right to take care of for a couple of weeks. He was in severe pain, but there's a long story that goes along with this. If you want to hear a fuller version, listen to the John and Tara podcast where we talk about this scenario. So in that time that the pouch had the doctors say exploded, but because of how serious it was, in those 2 weeks, his body actually, so it was an abscess, which occurs when pus collects in the pouch. His body actually made an abscess collecting all this infection. And so later we went to the emergency room and to the doctor, and they did x-rays and then a CT scan to discover that indeed his body had already had this. They had not diagnosed peritonitis, but it was basically that one of these diverticular pouches had exploded, and then his body had gathered it up again and then made an abscess. So they had to go through a number of procedures to ameliorate that, including draining the abscess and strong antibiotics. What I'm mostly going to talk about is part of the healing journey and the healthy, helpful remedies that really help to ultimately heal the diverticulitis. What the doctors thought is diverticulitis, but this person suspects was actually something else, because he was exercising regularly. He was eating a fair amount of fiber, drinking plenty of fluids, and he does not smoke. And one of the symptoms, one of the things that aggravates diverticulitis is skin on fruits and vegetables, as well as seeds. And those had never bothered him. And especially after the acute phases, acute means very severe in a short amount of time. In this acute phase, after the acute phase, has never had issues with skins or seeds. So he actually relates it to an injury that he experienced years ago when a bike handle, he crashed and he landed on the handlebar and it went into his lower abdomen and likely caused internal injury. And that this weakened the colon or the large intestine and made a bruised area. So already weakening that area. It's hard to confirm that absolutely, but we all have to be in tune with our bodies as well. And so that I think we all can get an idea of how the pieces come together over time. So anyways, what I want to focus on, though, there were many things that helped, including diet was essential. Particularly initially, the doctor said as he was leaving the hospital, you can go back to a normal diet. That was absolutely not the case for him. And I don't see how that would be the case for anyone, because your abdomen, your intestinal lining is so sensitive. What we did is he was on a liquid diet, soups, broths for weeks, so that the digestive system could heal and not be aggravated, not be bothered by high fiber or even modest fiber foods. So broth was really important. Blending foods, liquid, a lot of soups, and then also soluble fiber. Soluble fiber is softer, it blends well. You want to think like sweet potatoes, okra, asparagus, things that really are soft and slimy. And they have healing properties as well. So diet was a big part of it. There were herbs that he took and also nutritional supplements. But what I want to focus on today, that could be hours worth of talk just on those subjects. But something that we saw very immediate results with, and even with some family members since then taking it for other reasons, are peptides. Now, here's another chance. Take your voice memo recorder and record this. So I'm going to read a couple of definitions of peptides. WebMD says let's start from the beginning. There's a lot of buzz about peptides and what they can do for your skin, muscles, and health. What exactly are they, and do they live up to the hype? Oh, there's some good words here to emphasize. So buzz, it's like zzz. Buzz is a sound that bees make, if you think about a bunch of bees, they buzz, right? And that's kind of how the news happens. And then so hype, you can relate back to the word hyper, or above, an active state, right? So it's just kind of a shortened version of that. What does it live up to the hype or the buzz? These are kind of synonyms, buzz and hype. I would say they could be synonyms. So what are peptides? Go ahead and practice that sentence, by the way, or two sentences, perfect length. Your body makes peptides. They're strings of amino acids, which are the building blocks of proteins. But a peptide doesn't have as many amino acids as a protein does. Lab-made peptides can mimic some of those found in your body. Some of them are used in medications or conditions ranging from diabetes to multiple sclerosis. Insulin, for example, is a peptide compound. or may not be a compound, might technically just be a peptide. And so what do they do? There are lots of different peptides, each of which has a different role in your body. We need more research into what synthetic peptides can do and how they do it, but some of the benefits certain peptides are thought to offer include, now again, good paragraph, short paragraph to record and check. I'll just read this section. Anti-aging, collagen peptides help make collagen and elastin, proteins found in healthy skin. An antimicrobial peptide, AMP, is involved in the production of melanin, a skin pigment. Another AMP is involved in skin whitening. So a synthetic version might help with hyperpigmentation or age spots. Improving the skin barrier, antimicrobial peptides can help your body fight bacteria and promote wound healing. These are perfect small paragraphs to record and compare as we learn about natural health and healing. Well, I consider a lot of this natural, and even though these are lab created, your body can make peptides. It does make peptides of its own, by the way. Muscle growth, creatine, and collagen peptides help boost muscle growth or muscle repair. Certain types of synthetic peptides thought to be linked to muscle growth, called growth hormone releasing peptides, may be illegal and unsafe. Weight loss. Scientists are looking at whether some peptides could help you lose weight, but we need more studies on this. And the article goes on. I will include the links to these articles in the notes below, so you can follow along and you can read the entire article if it interests you. So what is the history of peptides? Where do they come from? Well, creative peptides, and I like to use multiple sources because creative peptides, I'm assuming, might sell peptides, and there are some institutes that may or may not have great definitions. I like to typically, when I'm looking, I use multiples. So let's start here. In 1902, Starling and Bayliss discovered this secretin. They showed that when acid arrived from the stomach, it liberated a chemical messenger from the jejunal mucosa. And this messenger traveled through the blood to excite the pancreas to secrete pancreatic juice. This is the first time that that's not even correct. This is the first time that humans found the peptide. Maybe we should look to another definition. There's one that I explored here earlier. Basically here, National Institutes of Health. Nope, that's not it. Well, in any case, you can, sorry, I have a window popping up here that I'd like to get rid of. And there we go. Let's see. So you can find different definitions. Let's take a look at Nature Journal. No, that one's, I'm sorry, I had one selected here when I recorded earlier. So let's just go to Wikipedia. Let's see, different classes. Example, families. Where did I think I found the history that I wanted, just even mentioning that they are, that they make up, insulin as well. Okay. So let's continue on. So there are many kinds of peptides, and the type that particularly helped this person with, at this point, it wasn't even just necessarily diverticulitis, it was actually a hole. There was a hole in the colon. And so that hole needed to be healed, which he was using, like I mentioned, diet was very important, so that he still needed to eat, of course, but that the food was not only not bothering him, but easy to absorb and very nutritious. And then, and like I said, lots of soups and broths, definitely liquid diet for several weeks. and then supplements, herbs, not just herbs, I'm sorry, vitamins and nutrients, and then herbs as well for the specifics of the condition. And then he took peptides. They were actually this gorilla healing wolverine, which actually comes up first in the search. So I will do them a favor actually and click into their information. These seemed to really do the trick, like really noticeably within the first dose, he noticed improvement. And we go into more details on that and in his own words in the John and Tara podcast. But he did find that the BPC157 and TB500 together worked better. It did cost more. Initially, I didn't understand by their advertising why there was one that was called Plus or something like that. And this is the combination. And basically giving his body the very basic building blocks to rebuild tissue, from what I understand. This is not medical advice. I'm simply sharing a story of, as you might be able to figure out, this was my husband who had this condition and has still been taking the peptides and has still experienced, he says he feels healthier than before his years before this incident. And so suggesting that there is still something going on, maybe diverticulitis, but he had never had an inflammation until that one fateful day. Particularly promotes gut healing, back pain relief. Now, again, I am referring to a product's, a distributor's, a vendor's page. But you'll find a lot of same information when you simply just research the peptides themselves. They are not regulated. They are technically a supplement, so they are not regulated by the FDA. And so there is not a margin for how safe they are. However, a lot of people consider them fairly safe because the body does make them itself. So TB500 is also added to this product that does seem to boost the ability of the BPC157. My husband has been taking it, the nasal formula. He has also been injecting it locally, the BPC157, not this product, he's not been injecting, but specifically the BPC157. He's had to figure out his own dosing. There's no, there are doctors that will prescribe and recommend dosaging. A lot of times the BPC157 I've heard has been used for torn ligaments, joint issues, but helps with a lot of connective tissue and tissues in the body. So that is a very quick summary of a very significant event that happened in our life. And my desire here is, while helping you with your higher language learning with tips, to share important, helpful information that hopefully you're interested in, which helps the learning function. It helps you to learn better, of course, if you're interested in the topic. And isn't it fun to be past learning the colors and the numbers and the alphabet and all the verb conjugation? And here we are now getting into how to have good conversations, speak fluently, having good recall. And today's focus is on how to work on your pronunciation while learning a topic that you're interested in. If this one doesn't interest you, hit the notification button, and soon there will be another topic that I'll read about. Again, if there are certain words that were more challenging for you, please let me know in the comments and I'll work on some tips for that. And let me know your native language. It can help to know what your native language is, because there are usually patterns from your native language to overcome. And check out today, if you can go back and scroll back to June 27th, 2023. Oh my gosh, I dated this video. for a video on a great tip on how to work on your pronunciation. And that is all in observing what a native speaker. What I will strive to do also is get better presentations where you can see me side by side as I read, so you can watch my mouth as well while I speak. That is very helpful as well, which is also really helpful in the Instagram videos, because you can watch the written content and you can watch how I'm speaking while you're listening, which is very helpful. Okay, so I love to hear from you. Let me know in the comments how this is going. By the way, if you notice, I don't slow down my speech. You're intermediate, advanced. I love Duolingo, by the way. Keep studying and brushing up on your language skills. But it's important to, at a certain point, dive in, as we say. You just dive into the water, right? And start practicing. You can always slow down the video. There is a setting in YouTube to slow down the video. But I suggest that you watch and listen at regular speed and watch it multiple times if you need to. You will actually start hearing new things that you did not notice before, and you'll be very happy and excited that you did. If you hear words that are new, repeat. It's so rewarding to start picking up, to hear the words, to note the phrases without them being pointed out to you. Although I do love getting into some of those details and sharing those with you. So have a wonderful day. Enjoy your journey in language learning, and I'll be back again soon. Take care.